pretty much up to move 52. I didn't find any major problems. There was one thing that I learned looking over some stuff. Um, so Chip played this one. I know this is one of your favorites. And I actually learned that this one's pretty good as long as you have a stone here. And I'll show you at least where I got that from after when you do it down here. Um, but anyway, you guys have gotten really familiar with this Joseki, and it came out good. This was a little strange to me, but it gives the same result, so I don't mind it. Normally, I see white play here, and I think that it's just a little thicker, but it comes down to the same exact thing once he plays here, so it's fine. So that was cool. I remember we discussed this like a week or two ago, right? And we were talking about how before somebody would play like this, and there was a big difference between this and like when white extends down here. So I thought that was good. Um, this was fine. The computer said it was fine, but me personally, for Chip, I would have played here, just because this feels really thick, and I wanted to make a second wall like right away, so that it would goat you into attacking here, and then we would start the fight. And if you don't come over here to start the fight and play something like this or whatever, then white is looking pretty big over here, right? So yeah. But this was fine. This was good. I know you said you were starting to use this one, right?
Yeah. Um, I kind of liked the influence style thing it's got going on.
Yeah, this is what the Joseki button says is very simple. This is like the simple man way to play. And I like being
Yeah.
simple, so you'll see
Yeah.
me do it all the time, right? I think in our game I've done it.
Yeah. Didn't quite work out for me in that corner though. I don't know what happened there.
Well, let's find out. I kind of forget if something bad happened this corner, but what I can say is that the idea is when you have a good group over here, so you have like a black wall here, a stone here, then this is for the influence. This is for the outside. So when I saw you use it, I was very curious, what the computer thought about it, and um, I was reading through this, and like, there's so many variations with everything here, that like I was felt like I even need to restudy this and start doing this with my morning coffee. And I'm thinking about
Yeah.
teaching this for the double digit Q class because the rabbit hole is so deep, right? Like I thought this was the only move. But when Chip used this, I was like, I wonder if this is wrong. Let me look it up. And then no, I mean it's not wrong. It's considered a simple Joseki, and like I didn't even know that this was the continuation attachment, right?
Mm.
So when we see in your game, it happened, and then like technically, I guess this would be the continuation. Though I still like this, right? Because you're trying to break this area.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so I was like, oh, I didn't know about this move, right? Like I didn't even know this was a real move. So there's just so many different variations, and then even in our game, right? We're playing this right now, where I played here, you played here, here, and then you played something else, and I was able to cut you, right? You like
Yeah,
Tanuki.
that's what I was saying that didn't work out for me.
Uh,
I guess I didn't continue the sequence.
yeah, yep. So then like I knew this is a move to push white forward, but I didn't know the timing was now either. And so this is why I was like, man, I gotta brush up and study on this because Chip and Jory and my friend Neil that I can't seem to beat, they're all using this every game, and so I'm like, I need to master this, Um, so it gets really confusing. I mean, you look at like all the fights that come out of this, and I'm all like,
Mm.
this is a really, really, really deep rabbit hole here,
Hmm.
Like B makes sense to me to kill the corner. But I remember doing it before and my teacher was like, "Oh, this is too small." And then, A looks crazy to me, right? Like this is the fight, it's getting nuts. And then
Yeah.
C is saying it's going for the outside, right? So
Hmm.
it just yeah, this rabbit hole goes deep. So anyway, when I saw you guys doing it, I learned a little something, which was this. But to go back to what I wanted to say was just this here. So A is good when black has the upper side potential, which we've seen this. You've played it quite a lot. Chip still plays it quite a lot. So you guys are very familiar with it. But in your game, because you have a wall here and a stone here, I think that this would have been more beneficial if this Joseki, if this Mark 5005 Don wrote this correctly, right?
Hmm.
So I just figured I'd let you know that, when you have more potential on this side, it might be better just to play what you know. But still, I still think B is good. I like to keep my games very simple. I'm a simple man, so it's fine. I think this is more than fine. Okay, so this is how it went. Blah 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 blah. So this is where Chip made his first mistake. Why is this direction better than this one?
Um, Sorry, say that one more time.
Why is A for white better than B?
Uh, because first of all, you're splitting the two black stones, and then also you're projecting influence towards the top wall that you have,
Mm-hmm.
where B is building towards the wrong direction of play. It looks like.
Yeah, yeah. This is a smaller plot of land, right, compared to this one.
Hmm.
And so this is the bigger side. So by playing something like this, and even if we just play very simply, you can see that white is building a lot here, right? This is getting pretty big.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's why the computer really liked this direction more, was because white invested more over here, and it's a bigger plot of land. This one, eventually after the Josekis, black can always come over here and shoulder hit this group and either keep them flat and like reduced, or it can still go something like this, right? So the idea is that black can easily reduce this area because there's
Mm.
a stone on the third line, and the third line means that it can get shoulder hit. So that's just something to keep in mind.
It's also set. Sorry, fires in the background.
Mhm.
It's also like leaves a monkey jump and that peep open too at the end when you don't split the stones, which became an issue later. At the bottom at 2C
Yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah, yep. Sorry, when you were talking, it hit me my brain how to fix the headphone problem. But I guess it's too late now. But I'll remember. I'll keep trying.
Yeah, no problem.
Instead of doing it in Zoom, so I changed my audio in Zoom. I can change my computer audio settings, and that would make it
Mm.
work. But I totally goofed
Yeah,
it. So anyway,
no problem.
yeah. So you were talking about this undercut, right, and the split and
Mm.
stuff later. Yeah. Yeah. So this area just is very small, whereas if we played like this, then the best black can do, later is something like this, right? And this really isn't that far. Black still gets the corner, but white has a very thick wall here. So,
Mm.
all right. So this would have been a better direction for you, Chip. Um, so this is very natural. A lot of the times this would be the correct move, but after this long Joseki, I found out, and this is something I learned during this review too, is that you can just seal black in here. If black responds like this, then you can connect and you're fine. If black plays like this, well, now you could cut through here and just kill the whole corner, and this is very beneficial for white too. Um, so in black's interest, black wouldn't want to do this cut. Instead, black would want to connect, or actually, black might even want to come over here now. So we'll go over that. But when Chip played here, it was a negative move. It was a mistake in the computer's eyes, and there was, many other openings. Chip could have played here. The computer apparently really cared about this dividing line, because whoever gets the first move here is gonna be able to manipulate how many points each others are gonna get. So this was a huge part of the game that the computer was yelling at you guys about. And then you could also play this first and then this, and it's very clear that if black plays like this, well, now you can just take a kill, right? You can get a 2-space kill. So there's many holes here, and so this move is inefficient because there's better moves. So for now on, you Chip, you guys run into this Joseki all the time because people play the Sanrensei all the time, right? They play the Sanrensei and then they do this pincer. And so we've gone over this so many times. You have the Joseki memorized, which is great. But yeah, so just know that this double Hane Tetsuji is a really good move here to seal in black. So now we should talk about this. So you were talking about this cutting point, right?
I don't know if I considered that as an option.
This black move that you did?
Did I cut in there?
Yeah, you cut here.
Okay. I thought you were talking about it as like a hypothetical. I completely forgot that I cut him there.
Well, when you were talking about this area, you said it could be undercut here, right? Or monkey jumped. And then I thought you mentioned this cut too. Am I wrong?
I was thinking of a cut later on.
Okay.
So yeah, I see why that's so bad now.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So the ladder does work, mind you. So I could see why you played it. And then I made a mistake. And thought that white could play here. Oops. Here, but I was wrong. So I thought this was the loose ladder. Actually, I still think now that white can play here, because what's black gonna do, right? Like, well, it looks a little messy, to be fair, but there's something better that can happen. But anyway, so this move is really close to white's thickness, and it's very weak. And if played correctly, once white starts this broken ladder, instead of continuing the ladder that's broken, if you use the knight's move Tetsuji, he can actually put a lot of hurt on you, right? You'll never be able to catch white here because he'll always be able to connect under. And then, do these black stones look like they're useful or they're going to get away?
Yeah, definitely not. I think that now I'm remembering. I think it was because of the ladder that I decided to do that.
Yeah, and I understand that because I've actually done this in my own games. But I've gotten punished almost every time. And the reason is because this is too close to thickness. Like, white has too much strength here. So this cut, even though the ladder works, when we start reading the nets and then the knight's move Tetsuji, we realize that it's just not going to work, right? Like, this isn't going to work. This isn't gonna work. So nothing is gonna work here too well because of this knight's move Tetsuji. So it's just too close to strength, and that's what it is. So instead, the computer said that. Well, actually, yeah, I thought this would be very simple and easy to understand because you've already undercut his area. and made it foolish, and now you can jump out here. And like you can see that white's not gonna make any points here. So this would have been the most simplest way to play, and that's how I would play. The computer said just to play here outright, and then if white has to like defend his territory, you're already kind of doing a good job, right? This is looking really nice. So yeah, this was too close. This was your first mistake. So that's it.
I had mentioned that in the chat with Chip as well. I think we had talked very briefly about that cut too.
Okay, yeah, that it was asking for too much.
Yeah, that it was a little too early, maybe, or not good at all.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the computer really was more interested in the dividing Moyo lines here. Because if you get the first move here, then you are setting a precedence, right, for this area. So he's not going to be able to make a lot of points here. He's undercut, and you're just going to make more. So that's why the first move here was so important for both of you. So for white shouldn't have played this. Apparently white should have played here or here to seal this up. And for black, instead of black playing here, black should have played here. So this was the most important part of the game. So then we got to this. And for white, once again, he needed this. But when he did this, now he's created a Romeo-Juliet split. And this ladder works for you, and he knows that, so he has to play another bad move, right? And then you get out. And then there's even a really major weakness here, which he should have addressed. And because you missed it, it just sits there for the whole game, really, for quite a while.
Yeah,
but
I saw that cut, and I figured I was going to save it for a code. I noticed it later on.
okay, yeah. So this was bad. White should have addressed this, because if he loses these 3 stones, then there's nothing stopping black, right? You'll just be connected, and you get everything. So he needed to stop this. But he played here. And then for black, the computer said that this would have been better because it just gives you more liberties. And this side is still really weak. You can see, like, if white cares more about this side, first of all, this isn't a lot of points. And second of all, once you start doing stuff like this, then this is really bad for white. Yeah, I'm sure you can see that, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible for white. So, black, the computer wanted you to play here. But you did this turn. I think it's fine. And then, yeah, so now if you played like this, it's clear that if white plays here, well, he just lost the 3 stones. If he plays here, there's a weakness and a weakness. So if he saves this group, then these die. If he saves this group, then these die, right? So this cut was brutal, and both of you guys like missed it throughout the game, in the early game. But it was for quite a while. I don't remember if anybody played here yet.
I don't think anybody has. So, thanks for the tip.
So
I think the position has changed a little bit.
Okay. So now black played here, and you played here, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I mean, can't you see that you'll die in 1 hit?
I did not see that.
Okay, yeah, I think I don't Chip didn't see it either, and that surprised me as well. So, you should have played the bamboo joint, and then you would be a lot safer, right? Like, this doesn't even work right now because he can just kill you. So, you have to save this group. But you didn't. You played here. And then Chip responded. And then And then this got real ugly. That seems like that's a good idea. Yep. Good idea. Good idea. Oh, this is, I think, the wrong idea. So right now he has 2 liberties, and if he played here, he would have 3. But when he plays here, all he has is 2 liberties. So now things are getting really scary. So I think he had to come out.
Well, he could have. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think you have time to turn, right? Because then you'll get killed. So I guess this should have been played. The computer didn't say it was a mistake. So I didn't catch this either. But I think if he made it 3 stones, now these like little Ataris and stuff don't work, right? They don't. He can play out like this, and you can't kill him, right? It's not easy for you anyway. But anyway, so we got to this point. He had to play here, and you can't Hane. You did, but you can't because if he cuts here now, like what's gonna happen, right? Like, does Black play here? You play something like this, like. This is only going to be a problem for Black, I think, because these stones are going to die much easier than these ones. Because these only have 2 liberties and these have 3. If we play it like this, same thing, right? These have 2 liberties, and this one only has 1, right? So White needed to cut here, but White played here, and then you protected and opened up this weakness, which he missed, and then you got to play here. So this was great for you. So yeah, everything kind of went up for Jory on this one. So good job. I was really surprised you didn't play here, but it's not a mistake. I'm just surprised you didn't play it. So you're thinking on the next level, right? Which is awesome. So good job. This is obviously still wrong, right? Because White can just play here. But Chip did not see it. And, I just want to show you, like, how long this should have been dead. And then it finally happened, right? And then this is a mistake, because if he played here, it would have been fine. But instead he played this, which allowed you to fix. So this is a thank you move. We want to avoid thank you moves at all costs. That is a major problem. It was the last mistake that I recorded. But let's go back. So White played here, which felt a little off topic. I understand that this is a lot of it's a big moyo here, but for Chip, if he turned here, not only is this putting a powerful attack on this group, but it's also putting a powerful attack on this one. Because if you responded where Chip did, right, somewhere along this line, well, now he can cut here, and this actually works for White now, right? And this would be pretty a heavy hit on this, especially since he can always continue the attack on these stones as well. So this felt like the priority. 2 space base. I'm not gonna argue with that. Successful corner invasion. Let me just see what happened here, though. I think he has to play this first. And then, I feel like I always mess this up, but let's see. This would lead to the ko. This wouldn't feel right. I guess I should always research this one. But this one, feels like you can just kill him. So that wouldn't work. I hate that I always have to look this up. Like it's such an essential corner. I know this shape, but I think um I think this might be one of the variations anyway, because when you play here, white can't connect here. So white has to take, and then if white connects here, I guess this still is two eyes.
Yeah, and I wasn't quite sure how to kill that.
All right, I'll make sure to look this up and get back to you on this one. But it does feel like ooh, black should have been able to kill, and if black couldn't, then maybe you should have played here. But ugh. Yeah, so something like this would kill. But this sure has a lot of weaknesses too. So, yeah. All right, I'll have to look that up. But oddly enough, the computer I don't think said there was any problems here. Or if they did, then I already wrote down so much that like I thought we were good. We'll look at it with the computer actually after this. Um, but yeah, this one doesn't work because he just immediately makes two eyes at that point. Um, I guess you could make this a ko though. So, is there any? Yeah, this would also lead to a ko. So I think you had the right idea, but then you didn't execute it. So understand that this 1-2 spot and 2-1 spot usually leads to a lot of kos. So this would have been really nice actually. Do you see the kos here? That's pretty cool. All right. So yep, and this was the last mistake. So what I took from this game specifically is that you guys both need to do some more Tetsuji books. Working on your Tetsuji is really important to upping your game. Because when I show you the computer, like almost every single move was like mistake, 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 right? Like every single fighting move here for like 10 turns were all bad, right? They were all unfortunate. You came out better than Chip did because he had more mistakes, but then that all could have been taken away with you, or taken away from you. You know what I mean? So it was crazy to me to see like this many Tetsuji mistakes, and yeah, so that it was interesting. But I hope that guys give you a guide on what to study next. I know you've been doing the life and death with me, Jory, which is great because that's been helping me out significantly. But I also think that it's a good idea to sharpen your fighting skills and learn as many Tetsujis as you can. Studying Tetsuji was one of my favorite things to do. I like it way more than life and death. So I hope you enjoy that. I know you went through a little bit of the book, right? The James Davies one.
Yeah, I did. I've been finding the Wiki 101 problems to be the more helpful. I'm much more of like a visual do kind of learner than it's very heavy for me to like read through some of those books. But I've definitely looked up when I've done a Wiki 101 problem set. I've gone back to the Davies books to like look up the write up about like what that Tetsuji is and like what he says about it.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, I'm glad that's helping. So it's
Yeah.
just a matter of time thing then. The more you do that, the more better you're gonna become. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of fighting mistakes for both of you guys, right? Like there was these major holes in the specifically in this fight already. And I'm not gonna lie, this one might have been kind of hard to find, this Knight's Tetsuji. And it's like the third thing you learn in the book too. I just don't use it as often as I do the ladders or the nets, right? So like even myself, I thought that this net would work, but after I wrote it down and printed it, I was like, oh wait, this doesn't work. Um, so so then I had to find something else, right? And yeah. So my point is that both of you guys have your weakness in local physical fights and reading. So doing Tetsuji and Life and Death will up your game with that. But yeah, this was major. Um, and this was major. So playing here instead of the bamboo. But okay, we'll just quickly go over the computer's mistakes, and we'll recap everything. So the first major, just over 1 point mistake was Chip picking the wrong direction, right? So Chip should have taken the more bigger side here, and this side is just less, and so it's not as worth picking this side. And once that happened, you played very well. This is the most modern Tetsuji. I mean, sorry, Joseki. Back in the day, we would just play here at b6, and then white would play e7. But now like a lot of the modern Josekis, so that's really cool. And then Chip made another mistake here, which actually gave you a pretty good lead. And so if we play A, this double Hane Tetsuji, it creates this nice setup here where black doesn't want to Atari. So then you get the free move of like enclosing both sides. Still, this looks good for black though because black gets this move first. Other ways to do it would be this one, which black encloses, and then you double Hane, and then this opening here stays open for white, right? So white gets this nice seal on black, and then black finishes living by playing this turn. So black's alive in this corner now. And then finally white could have played here, which would then delve into coming back, I think. I believe it should, but maybe this just takes precedence over everything else. But anyway. So we talked about why this was bad, and this was really bad, right? Like, you look at Chip's mistakes, and they're like 1 point, 2 points, but this was a -5. And so, yeah, we just got to understand that when you're playing this close to strength, it's not going to gain you much. If anything, it should give you just a weak group that could get killed, right? And I understand that the cut, the ladder didn't work for him, and so that's what gave you the confidence to play here. I've done that same mistake, so don't think that that doesn't happen. But once he plays this, like now, these stones are very solid. These stones are very solid. This stone is not solid, and so it leads to this knight, and so these kind of just die. I think they just like the computer just gives up on them because they're just gonna be dead, right? So yeah, that was important, very important. It's like the third lesson in the Tetsuji book, so we want to learn our knight's move, Tetsuji. So this was bad. It's good for black. Good for black. This was bad. Good for black. And then once again, this just gives you more liberties, and it puts more attack on the bottom. So that's why the computer wanted you to come out here more. And then I'm assuming, yep, I was gonna say he'll come back and take this. But all right. So you still had the opportunity to play this move. You needed to make a bamboo here because these stones could die in one hit. Like it's just every single move is bad, right? Like it's pretty funny to me. Like
Yeah,
I've been there,
That's so crazy because yeah, I totally didn't see that. I played that jump move and I was like, yeah, boom, safe.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, negative 15 points. Like you were winning this game, right? You were always like almost up 5 points, and then all of a sudden, boom. Yeah. And then his is just as bad, right? Because he doesn't punish it. So, negative 10, negative 10, negative 14, negative 14, like, uh, all crazy big numbers. Um, so now we were talking about this Hane. So I didn't say what a good move you could do here, right? And I guess that good move obviously is the bamboo shoot here. And just extending too then. Because this Hane just doesn't work. You have to make sure when you're planning to Hane in front of somebody that you read that cut. Did you read this cut? Did you feel did you read that this cut was okay?
Um, I
If
think at that point I didn't. I was sort of like trying stuff because I figured I had poked into the territory, and to me that was sort of enough because I was going to go off and do something else. So I think I was like not that worried about those getting killed because then I was going to go play at Q10. Like that was going to be my continuation.
Okay.
But then I kept getting traction, and so I just continued to play there. But I was sort of like throwing stones in because I was sort of happy with the reduction that I had gotten.
Yeah, I mean this was definitely a really nice reduction. Um, but man, I would not purposely die though. That's uh, but when he played here, you didn't have to die anymore, so that's nice. um, so yeah, I mean you just got more and more and more, so that was good for you. Um, and then Chip was afraid of you getting all this area, which is a sensible fear. But still, splitting these groups that Chip can kill, he should do that, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
question that these are really big territories, right? Like really big moves here. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, pretty much, the computer thinks everything is bad just because these can die, right? And these are so important right now. Um, so other than all that, I didn't address this move. Once again, there's already a lot to digest in this game alone. But if I was to get nitpicky, this is to defend this, right? Or maybe it's to help defend this. Is that what? Or maybe
I
it's to
was well,
attack these, right?
I was gonna try to attack that two space, and that's what that air. I should have undercut the base instead of playing on top of it. At least I felt I should have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that idea of trying to undercut it because if they blocks, then you'll be able to come out, right? You'll just be
Mm-hmm.
able to be fine here, which is really
I
nice.
feel like that was a big mistake. Yeah.
Um, so I like this undercut because not only does it undercut it, but you also get a base, so that's pretty cool. But you know what? Looking at this move now, I don't think it's as bad either. This is still a nice attack on here.
Yeah. Sort of
Um,
building also.
yeah, I watched that video, the whole Nick Sabicki video you sent me,
Oh
and
yeah.
he talks about this one and this one, so or
Mm.
this one and this one. Um, so I like that you're thinking about that now, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I've actually just did the undercut in another game. I'm playing with some other guy, but I'm playing out the undercut sequence in now, and it's pretty sweet.
nice. Yeah, I mean, I like doing it. It always feels good. So unfortunately, because this is here, the computer's not gonna tell us. But let me remedy that, and let me.
Maybe make a demo board or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
I think in OGS you can make a demo board and make it happen.
Okay. Let's see. All right, you know what? Screw it. I'm not sure. But let me just see. So because there's no defense here, this clamp is here. If you go under, then he can cut here. So I'm really curious about all this. Okay. All right. So for now, I'm gonna end this here, but we can look at that demo board. I'll let you share the screen, and you can show me how that works, because I might not be as familiar with that.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can.
Okay. And as for you, Chip, who's watching at home in your, hopefully you got a cup of tea. You know, you got your robe on and you're kicking it after work. Um, there was definitely a lot of fighting and like physical attack mistakes. So I really, really recommend, I think you even told me that you finished the Tetsuji book, but maybe now you should continue the book, How to Get Strong at Tetsuji. That's a really good book. So that's it.